Nahuatl, Nahuatl, Nahuatl is a Uto-Aztecan language, which includes 30 languages across the Americas, primarily in the western part of the United States and Mexico. It is spoken by roughly 1.5 million people, mostly in central Mexico, with a few thousand speakers in El Salvador. It is spoken as a minority language in the rural areas throughout Mexico, such as Puebla, Veracruz, Hidalgo, Tlaxcala, and other provinces. There are two groups of the Uto-Aztecan languages, one being the Northern Uto-Aztecan group and the other being the Southern Uto-Aztecan group. More specifically, Nahuatl is a descendant of Classical Nahuatl, which is part of the Southern Uto-Aztecan group. Classical Nahuatl has evolved into Pipil, Pochtec, dead as of 1970, and of course, Nahuatl. To understand the Nahuatl language, we need to go over some Aztec history. The exact origins of Nahuatl is unclear, but we believe it originated in the deserts of northern Mexico and in the southwest of what is now the United States, sometime around 500 AD. It was during this time that the Nahuatl people migrated south to the Valley of Mexico. After switching from nomadic culture in favor of agriculture and urban development, the most notable migration occurred when the Mexca, a group of the Nahuatls, migrated to the island on Lake Texcoco in 1200 AD. We believe that the name Mexco, or Mexico, comes from Nahuatl, meaning place of the Mexca. These people would eventually build a city which would be known as Tenochtitlan. After a few political affairs, they would eventually make an alliance with the Tlacopan and Texcoco people. Tenochtitlan and friends would then form the Aztec Empire. The name Aztec was coined by this dude right here, Alexander von Humboldt. The name comes from the word Aztlan, which, according to the Mexca people, was their original homeland. Even before the Aztec Empire, Nahuatl, Classical Nahuatl, was commonly spoken as a lingua franca amongst the local tribes such as the Teotihuacan and Toltec. However, it was the Aztec Empire that made this language so popular and dominant in their region. Similar to their Mayan neighbors, Nahuatl had its own written form. Well, it was a pictograph script and not quite like the Mayan writing system, but hey, it was written down nonetheless. This has helped linguists and historians decipher Nahuatl history and orals. Modern Nahuatl can further be broken down into several dialects, and the pronunciation of Nahuatl itself can vary. For instance, the central and northern dialects continue to use the TL, well, actually it's silent in this case, for their name, so it would be pronounced Nahuatl. The eastern dialects, Veracruz, use just the T sound, so it would be Nahuatl. And the western dialects use just the L sound, which would make it Nahuatl. Many Spanish words derive from Nahuatl, and here are a few examples. Chicle, or gum, comes from the word chitli, which is the plant where gum comes from. Chocolate, or chocolate, comes from the word chocolatl, and chante, home, comes from chantli. In Nahuatl, you place emphasis on the second to last syllable. For instance, the name Tenochtitlan is actually pronounced Tenochtitlan. Although the Spaniards conquered the Aztec Empire and for several hundred years enacted edicts to reduce the popularity of the language, Nahuatl has survived and has even seen a revival in the last decade due to online resources that are now available. It's important to know that voiceless does not equate to silence, and in this case, the speakers of Nahuatl who were forbidden to speak it at home have been able to pass it down and over the past couple of centuries been able to teach it to their young and has now seen a revival as a result. If you're interested in learning Nahuatl, you might want to brush up on your Spanish, as like with Acateco, most resources are in Spanish. However, dictionaries and basic expressions can be found in English, and I'll leave them in the description below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, leave a like, and check out our other videos, as your support means the world.